So hello everyone, today we're going to be talking about AWS CloudWatch, CloudWatch logs, and this is a part of an exam reviewer for your SCS-C02 exam, which is the AWS security exam. Even if you're not taking the exam and you are conscious about security, it's good to know uh, what CloudWatch is, or if you are just curious learning cloud or particularly AWS, this is a good item to learn. So this is a very big topic to discuss with it's an entire book, on its own to be discussing this CloudWatch. I don't know if I can cover everything, but most probably not. We'll just, it's probably a tip of the iceberg or something. But here are the agenda that we'll be talking about, and what's CloudWatch logs, core principles, features, use cases, and for data types analysis, security, and some questions for the exam for you to learn more about CloudWatch. So, to what is CloudWatch actually? If you're coming from Windows or from the Microsoft Word and you're using Windows and you're an administrator, we know that Windows has event log. You're coming from database, we have the transaction log for SQL Server, database logs, and application, we have the thing that we call application logs. So these logs provides you the information on what is happening on the OS, um, what's happening on your application, or what's happening on the database. But uh, in the cloud, it's different. We don't have separate OS log. We don't have separate uh, database log. We don't have separate application log. Instead, everything is centralized into the Amazon CloudWatch log for AWS. And it lets you collect, monitor, and analyze log from your AWS resources and application and services all in one scalable stream. So those logging system that we have on-prem is separate logging system. It's consolidated in the cloud, known as the CloudWatch. So it has log groups and streams. It has live trail, which views log in near real time. So what's happening, it's you can see that in the live trail. And then we have CloudWatch log insights, which we can use to query metrics and filters. You have two sets of that. It's the custom and the default. So we can monitor the metrics. So like, for example, CPU should be 80% and things like that, or memory should be this for cloud to be performing. And then we need to remediate that when we pass the threshold. And then retention and archiving, that by default, that's forever unless you set the um, threshold. Of course, we have to mask the items that are PII, for example, sensitive data, before storing that into the logs. Okay, for example, we're debugging Lambda function. These are the use cases, and then EC2 application and ECS. We can watch what's happening on our log if we enable logging for Lambda and EC2 and ECS container. We can also monitor API gateway traffic through CloudWatch logs. And then we can track login attempts or permission changes via IAM. And then we can create alerts based on error patterns or performance threshold. This is a very, a lot of slides to go with, but these are the core types. You have the row log events, log groups, and log stream, log levels, and custom tags. And then we should, for query analysis feature, we can use the CloudWatch log insight. We can have metrics, of course, as I mentioned, and we can keep track of our metrics and then trigger an alarm if it's passing our metrics or it's beyond our threshold. And then field discovery, save queries, things like that. Then we can also make use of this for security compliance, for example, who's logging into our system or who's using what and who's deleting or things like that. And yeah, or the retention policy and then encryption. Yep, we can make use of our log. Then it's just like a black box what's happening on the cloud. So if you're the administrator, you're not blind, and yeah, you can watch over the logs and then trigger something when you know something that's alarming happens. Which we use alarm for that. Alarm from logs and subscription filters, and there's dashboard that we can make use of. And then for operational utilities, we can export it to S3 for retention, longer retention, and archival. We can integrate it with Lambda and other AWS services to trigger auto remediation or things like that. And then we have log class option, we have cross account access. And then there's also AI where you can ask native question and make use of your log data. I think that's new. And we have the application signals or APM. These are your applications and what they're doing. For example, Lambda and the rest of the application that's running, it will create the service logs or the application logs, and then yeah, we can trace what's going on inside our Lambda, for example. We can also monitor our networks using the application log, and we need to go to demo before we go on to this sample questions. Let me just jump into AWS and yep. So okay, hopefully you're not laggy right now, right? And it is, so we can go to console. And again, this is a very broad topic to discuss in 1 hour 30 minutes or so, but it's basically the centralized logging of everything, and it's really very broad topic to discuss on. This is probably an overview. So that's the dashboard. And automatic dashboard, so we can see what's going on to our DynamoDB, for example. And if you're a DBA, you would want to see this metrics or this chart and see what's going on in your database. So these are my tables. These are the size, item counts, and capacity. So there's pretty much a lot in here. So you can also go to your PC to key management services, maybe I'm going to be interested with my S3. What's going on to my S3? These are custom, these are data or report metrics that's already there, was set up to you by AWS. So all you need to do is just analyze what's going on in here. So these are my S3 buckets, right? And those are the legends, and it's probably, well, what's the color coding? I don't know. And I'm not using that, so we don't expect um, a lot from there. And then you can also customize your dashboard, right? So this one are your automatic dashboard, and then if you want to add your own dashboard, I want to watch on these metrics, you can do so. And what else? So they, it's going to be intimidating if you expand all the concepts in this. So let me just do that and show you how big it is. So these are the AI operations. If you can do investigations from here, use the AI to do common human language. You can set alarms, which I don't have alarms just yet, but it's really very slow right now. So this is the log groups, and inside the log groups is your, so this is, you want to be interested on your DynamoDB or Glue or whatever, and then inside that log groups you have the log streams, which is what is happening. So we can expand this and see what happens to our DynamoDB. Right, so I imported the CSV from S3 and then load it into the DynamoDB. So that happens on 2020 on the 8th. Yeah, this is on 8/21. Okay, and those are the log stream, and then we have log anomalies, and then we can have live trail. This is what's happening right now, and yeah, you can select all these log groups and see what's the current happening. Okay, and then apply filter. While waiting for that, let's just open another one so we don't have to wait. Okay, it takes time to show sign on console. For login site, you can, it's using a time-based data stored in AWS, so you can actually run a query using Cloud Insight and then add the result to your custom dashboard. So you can go for CloudWatch, and we can run some data on the Cloud Insight. It's very slow right now. Okay. So we can go to Cloud Insight or log Insight, and you can run query. Then there's query there. So right, 8 the timestamp, request ID, duration, average duration, max duration, and then we can run that query. We need to select the log groups where we want to query. And run query, it's going to give us the come on. We'll be checking for the slowest invocation. We're not getting anything right. Why don't we most talkative sources run query. We have a graph. We didn't have any. Okay. I just need something to demo. Okay. Anyway, you can just run query. It will show the result here. Okay, and then it will give you the graph, and then you can actually choose what kind of visualization you want. Right? Could be a bar, could be whatever, and then you can add that to your custom dashboard. Okay, and then what else? Metrics is so for example, there are already metrics here that are default metrics that were set up to you, and then it's on the dashboard, and then you can, if it's running beyond your metrics, you can set an alarm and remediate that using Lambda, or send an SNS to trigger your Lambda. So this is the DynamoDB automatic dashboard. We've seen that already. How about, let me go to my EC2. And yep. And that's our CPU. I have only one instance, and it's running. It's my network coverage, and yep, nothing here. So I have one running EC2. What else do we want to discuss? So yeah, this is the coverage of this is really very broad. You have also you can watch your network traffic on your CloudWatch and things like that. So yeah, it's just a combination of application log, event log in your Windows, and database log, and it's just consolidated everything into your CloudWatch. If we expand this is a bit big, and you'll be asked on the exam how you're going to remediate, for example, what happens if I have over CPU dual. So yeah, if we expand this, there's a lot to cover, right? And then we have insights here, or yeah, anyway, let's go back to the slide and learn something else or more, and we'll have probably another session for this after my exam. So let's go for sample questions. I think I have 10 questions here. So, which of the following is not a picture of Amazon CloudWatch? Collecting and tracking metrics, collecting and monitoring log files, automatically scaling EC2 instance, or setting alarm on metrics. The correct answer, I think, is letter C. Right? Because it will not automatically scale your EC2. EC2 is your equivalent to your virtual machine that resides on your AWS. What is the smallest granularity at which standard CloudWatch metrics are collected? It's 1 second, 5 seconds, 1 minute, or 5 minutes. So it's actually 1 minute. And question number 3. CloudWatch log can store logs from each of the following: AWS Lambda EC2 instance on-premise server, and Amazon S3. Amazon S3 is not enabled by default. You need to do custom or enable those loggings before it takes the automated logging. So the correct answer is Lambda EC2 and on-premise server. And then true or false, you can use CloudWatch to trigger CloudWatch alarm to trigger an AWS Lambda function. Yes, you can send that alarm to an SNS, and then from SNS you can trigger a Lambda function or some other way, or event bridge. Yep. And which of the following allows you to aggregate multiple metrics and view them on a single screen? That's obvious. Is it CloudWatch log insight, dashboard, trail, or CloudFormation? The correct answer is, of course, dashboard, and we have two of them. And what is the retention policy that applies to CloudWatch logs by default? Is it 7 days, 30 days? It's indefinitely unless you set the retention, or log will be deleted after 1 year. Of course, the correct answer is letter C. It should be, it's indefinite unless you set the retention. And then true or false, CloudWatch events or the event bridge can respond to changes in AWS resources and trigger workflows. I don't know, it's probably true. Yep, we are correct. Yeah, we can route that to Lambda and step function. So if we encounter something in a log, we can trigger Lambda function or step function to remediate the triggering event. Okay, which type of metric storage does CloudWatch use? Is it a relational database? It's time series data store, object storage, or block storage? The correct answer is time series data store. And what's the main difference between custom metrics and default metrics? Custom metrics are free, custom metrics are pushed by you, and default metrics are published automatically by AWS. Or is it that default metrics have higher resolution and custom metrics cannot be graphed? Correct answer is custom metrics are pushed by you, while default metrics are already there, as I shown you in the demo. Last question. CloudWatch Log Insight is mainly used for, I already showed that in the demo. You can running SQL-like queries on log data, automating EC2 instance scaling, storing CloudTrail events, or encrypting CloudWatch metrics. Of course, the correct answer is running a SQL-like queries on log data. And That's all for now, and my name's Joey. You can email me if you want personalized training. I conduct a one-on-one training on several technologies, database, cloud, and we also launch an events, face-to-face events, and you can donate to Wire IT for those to happen. We usually do that once a year, and you can Gcash me or PayPal. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow on Facebook. And see you on uh, tech events that's happening. Well, yeah, I think we have AWS Cloud Day coming soon by October, and yeah, I'll see you on the events. And thank you all for watching. And yeah, welcome to Tech.